Sometimes it's good to just dance.
Welcome to the Good Stuff Family Podcast. I'm Dawn Kendrick, and I am so glad you're here. These are stories from the perspective of a news reporter on a next level assignment. Everyone has a story. Stories of hope, resilience, and how we believe God weaves people, relationships, opportunities, all of it for good. For many of us, faith leads our steps, others not so much. But that is what makes this growing Good Stuff family great. We know the journey is better together. Welcome to the family.
Well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along.
Good morning. It's Friday, so that means we are gathered around what we call the virtual gratitude table for a segment we call The Best Part of Waking Up is Waking Up. That's what we say. That's what we believe. We have breath in our lungs, fresh opportunity and a new day before us. And we come together to celebrate all the things that lit our heart on fire this week. And joining me always, my good friend, Rich Smith and Pastor Charles Eduardos. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Dawn. Good morning,
Good
Pastor
morning.
Charles.
Good morning, Rich. Good morning, Dawn.
Good morning, Good Stuff family. Happy Friday. It's the first Friday of October.
Yeah.
Yep. Days are getting shorter. I notice, it's still, the sun is still coming up, but you know what? I do love fall. I love fall. It makes me a bit sad to see the sun, fewer hours of daylight, but I love fall. And in the symbolism of it all, right? The leaves, okay, be still. Here, winter's coming, but spring will follow, right? The
Absolutely.
season of life sometimes to just be still. Right. So on that note, let's all take a nap.
Right? I call it nap season. Chili, soups.
Yes.
You made me think of that Journey song. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning. Now I got my song in for the day.
I could hear my mom when y'all were saying good morning, good morning. I heard her in the mornings. She used to wake us up saying good morning to you. We are all in our places with sunshiny faces, which is like the last thing you really want to hear first thing in the morning, right? But
Yeah.
I love her. So yeah, we're glad you're joining us. We have a couple things to get to today. This is we're 1 week out. It's going to be October 10th, a little more than a week, I guess. October 10th is the day. No, it is a week from today. Yeah, sure. Will be the premiere of John O'Leary's Soul on Fire. He's from St. Louis, and we've had him on the podcast before. It's been almost 3 years, but his story is powerful. It's about a purpose-driven life, even through severe burns that he sustained as a kid. He has a book out and now a movie. The movie comes out a week from today. Have you guys heard of him?
I think
have
he's
not.
been on the show, right? He's been on the show.
It's been almost 3 years. I look back. Can you believe that? Over 2, I should say, more than 2. Yes. And we have a little clip. Let's just show it right now. Okay. The clip from our podcast we did with him, because he's so speaking the language that we love. Let's listen really quickly.
I couldn't be more.
Sorry, not that one. One moment. See, I told you I need a nap. Hang on. One moment, please.
More coffee, more coffee.
Here he is. Okay, hang on.
Just to play off that for a moment, those two characteristics, humility and gratitude. I'm not exhibit A of it, but I long for it. And so I look in the mirror every day, Dawn, and I'm underwhelmed by what I see staring back at me. I'm broken physically, and I make mistakes professionally and say the wrong things on podcasts and to my family all the time. But through grace, the story's been used for good. And like that just blows my mind. And so then because of that, I'm so grateful for this life and for this work and for the chance at a new day. So the two words you used in the setup of that question, I love them: humility and gratitude.
How great is that to set the tone?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. He's just a good, in fact, I said that in our interview. I said,
yeah, good dude.
Good stuff dude. I called him good stuff dude. He's just a good stuff dude. Yeah. So the story, let's see if we can show a little bit of, I'm going to show the intro of the trailer, because the movie again is called Soul on Fire. And this will give you, if you're not familiar with him, this will give you a little introduction to him before we talk about why this movie, I think, is just so going to be so powerfully what's the word I'm looking for? That people are going to be inspired. And that's almost not even a strong.
You almost said my word of the day, which is movement.
Movement. Yes, that even through the things that he was supposed to be dead. That's not an overstatement. He had burns on 100% of his body, you guys. Young kid. Doctors had no precedent. Okay. And he's worked it for good. Here's the intro to the trailer that they showed last night. It was the red carpet live stream I watched yesterday here in St. Louis.
The film takes place in 3 different eras of my life. As a kid, before and after I got burned, when I'm about 21 in college, and then as I'm starting to figure out what the story means later on in life when I'm married with kids, but not yet fully embracing my scars.
I have learned a lot about life and the life that I would like to live by playing John. This isn't about when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. This is you almost died. Move on. Be thankful. Love everybody.
For a long time, of course, I would have chosen to grow up without any of this. I would love for my fingers to grow back and the scars to fade and my life to be normal. It's important people recognize, including the one answering, that if I go back and blow out the fire before it happens, I blow out what happened in the front yard that we filmed earlier today. Siblings coming together, our faith that was tested and validated. The parents' love that they modeled, the friendship with Jack Buck that took a lifetime afterwards to really form right. Where I went to college, who I met there, the words I do that I spoke to her on an altar, the 4 kids we have together today.
It would be so easy for John to accept a victim mentality. He rejects it at every turn. John is active every day in his life. He's not just out of bed, he's awake.
So when you go around life and you wish away the bad stuff, you've also got to give away all the good stuff that came out of it. And in my life, ignoring the movie and the books and the speaking, my life is so good. So it's not easy, it's not perfect, it's not without pain, but it's a life I wouldn't trade with anybody else.
Wow.
Now,
Boom.
what about the streaming?
I get it totally.
Oh, that's awesome.
A week
Yeah,
from today, it'll premiere. Soul
Wow.
on Fire.
Now, where
Yeah,
will it
we're-
be streaming?
What'd you say?
So, where will it be streaming?
No, it's in
theaters.
theaters. A week from today, theaters
awesome.
everywhere. Yeah,
Wow,
nationwide.
yeah.
Yeah, big deal. Now, this live stream was yesterday that I was talking about. That was probably what.
Oh,
people
gotcha.
like. Yeah, because it was a red carpet event, kind of the St. Louis premiere. William H. Macy plays Jack Buck. I mean,
Yeah, he's a good
this
guy.
is
Oh wow.
a big deal, and you should see how he nailed it. Like you saw a little glimpse. You could see it, the little clip in there. He really. I mean, he's beloved. Jack Buck here is a household name, St. Louis Cardinals announcer, for years. I grew up listening to him. But beyond, and here, this is a perfect segue into what we want to talk about today. Beyond his iconic role as a beloved, legendary Cardinal announcer was this man who led with his heart and who led by example and was altruistic and was kind and heard about this little kid who had been burned and showed up in his hospital room and said, "Kid, you're going to make it. You're going to make it." And brought him out onto the field for John O'Leary Day because he promised him if he gets out of the hospital, gave him all these. He got like something like 50 baseballs signed. Ozzie Smith, the great shortstop, all these. If he could, the gist is, spoiler alert, but if he could write a letter, Jack Buck would say, "Write a letter to whoever you want the ball from, and I'll make sure you get the ball." So he was learning how to reuse his hands that had fingers amputated in writing. He was teaching him how to repurpose his life in a body that, as a kid, can you imagine the trauma that he's so transparent about it. Now he speaks all around the country. He's a motivational speaker. He's got a fantastic podcast where he highlights other people who are inspiring. This is a purpose-driven life. And Rich, it goes perfectly. We're going to come back to more things about the movie that I have, but let's go right in, Rich. I love what you said when I was kind of picking your brains earlier this week. Don't do this is what your download from up above. You want to say it, Rich? Or I can say it.
Go ahead.
Don't do it because it's required. Don't do it because it's admired. Do it because it sets your heart on fire.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
name of this movie is Soul on Fire that I
Mm.
watched yesterday, the red carpet event. It's too perfectly timed. I feel like sometimes the Holy Spirit intervenes and says, this will be the theme. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
there's definitely no accident there.
Tell me more about that, Rich, right?
Yeah, this kind of this idea started with this retreat that I went to for Greek life. For those of you who don't know, I work at Cleveland State University, and I'm also an advisor for Sigma Phi Epsilon Ohio New. These are some of the guys. We just finished donating our time to the autism celebration about a week or so ago at ITC. So these guys came out and more. This is the end of the day crew. I didn't get a chance to get a picture with all the guys that came out, but so I was at a Greek retreat for advisors and leadership, and they had a very cool presentation on parliamentary procedure. Now, are you guys familiar with Robert's Rules of Order? Do you know what
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was Robert's Rules was created because this U.S. Army engineer, his name is Henry Martin Robert, was struggling to keep order at all things a church meeting. And it was just kind of going haywire. People weren't listening to each other. People weren't they weren't following any kind of procedure. They just kept talking over each other. It was just kind of chaotic. And so they charged him with creating this procedural manual for a way the meeting should be running, just this church meeting. And it has grown into, this was back in 1867-ish is when this happened. And his rules, there's many different manuals out there, but his rules of order actually inspired the House of Representatives and
Yep.
Congress. So that's how well this man developed this manual. He didn't know anything about running a meeting, but he just sat down and he created these ideas over and over again. Well, one of the speakers had mentioned this idea of emotion and what this motion means. And she said that the motion is a call to action. It's saying that I want to move on this. It is
Yes.
supposed to be a positive force. And so you can't make negative motions according to Robert's Rules of Order because it creates confusion. It's redundant. You don't make a motion to do something bad. And the way to combat that, if you don't like what's being presented, the only way to do this properly in Robert's Rules of Order is to let the motion come forward in a positive way. And if you don't like it, vote against it.
Yep.
And so in any way, shape, or form, it's still motion. It's still movement forward. That phrase kept resonating in my head. Move forward, moving forward.
Yeah.
And Pastor Charles, you and I had talked about before about being followers of Christ. And so it got me really going about what this movement forward is. So only keeping positive momentum, how do we keep moving forward? And I kept thinking about verbs associated with Jesus in the Bible.
Hmm.
And it was never a negative motion that he did. It was always he served, he prayed, he
Yes.
cried. He
encouraged.
right? He taught, he instructed. It was always positive momentum forward. And so working on this book this semester with my class, we introduced a new book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And so if you ever need an inspirational book on how to form positive habits and take negative habits and moving them forward, again, the whole idea of movement forward, I recommend this book because it's really changing some hearts in this class that we're talking about. And some of these students who came to college thinking this was the next step they're supposed to be taking, but not knowing how to move forward. And so we talked about this whole idea of positive momentum and how to make motions and how to move on in action. And then this idea of habit stacking. So taking things that you love to do and coupling it with things that you don't like to do to try and pull that out of the negative column and into the positives. How can you make action out of this?
Yeah.
And so that I was walking through campus this week and I kept saying, all these experiences from the beginning of this semester. And that's the first thing that popped in my mind. Don't do it because you're being asked to do it. Don't do it because it's required. Don't do it because people are going to show you their admiration if you do it, because that's compliance. That's not motion. Do it because it moves your heart. And it inspires you to make something positive.
So my question is, who is that speaking to who's listening right now? Like, pop up in the comments if you would. Here, Jackie, good morning. That has to resonate with so many people, including me, present company right here, that you to do what sets your heart on fire. This is exactly the point of this movie that is about to come out. Soul on Fire. So is it speaking to you? We hope it is. We hope when we gather around the virtual gratitude table on Friday mornings that things that inspired Rich and Pastor Charles and I during the week can also do the same for you. So what is it, if we're being honest, that's going to set our soul on fire? For me, it's storytelling. Pastor Charles, what sets your soul on fire?
Just seeing people when eyes light up and hope returns. I find it in, as I teach, as I preach, as I have conversations one-on-one with people, because this whole thing of what sets our heart on fire is really connecting to the deepest essence of our authentic identity as people, human beings created in the image and likeness of God. Nobody comes to this world without purpose. Psalm 139 tells us that our days were ordered even before we got here. But we get off on our own track sometimes. So it lights me up. I love, here at 77, I still love to learn new things. I love to impart something that's going to make another person's life a little bit better, that's going to lift them up out of a miry clay, using biblical terminology. So just, I guess, service. It comes down to service, because even when I'm still kind of involved in law enforcement as a chaplain, but just being able to make another person's life a little bit better, a little bit brighter, it just lights me up. It makes me smile.
And it occurs to me as I see this silhouette of the movie poster there. So he lost fingers, and it occurs to me, it's his earth suit. That's what you call it, Pastor Charles.
Yep.
These are earth suits. These are earth suits. With an earth suit that was missing fingers, this kid went on to do great things. You heard him say, even the speaking engagements and the book and the movie aside, he has this beautiful life. Yeah, because he kept taking the next best step. And here's the most important part that they kept reinforcing, that it's about the other people who came beside him when his mom showed up at the hospital and said, "Do you want to live?" He's a kid. He said, "Well, yeah." She said, "Then here's what we're going to do. You're going to take the hand of God and you're going to fight." This is the example that mama gave. And your dad and I are going to be beside you the whole way. And that's what the film will document, all the stages of his life in which he turned that disability, if you will, into this amazing ability to inspire others and to glorify God. There it is.
Absolutely. And Jackie, I'm with you. I love watching others shine. That's it. And when we live fullness of life, and God is using him to show others, just be careful about self-imposed limitations. And that takes us even back to Philippians. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Amen. Okay.
And
Here's
sticking
this.
to the theme, right? Disability to mobility.
There you go.
Good, Rich. Yes, good. There's a reason that word was on your mind. That's it. Who needs to hear that? Okay. Whoa. Love it. And we pulled this because I thought of this verse, right? Pastor Charles, you want to read it? Colossians 3:23-24.
Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that the master you are serving is Christ. And that scripture even points to, in Ignatian spirituality, the whole idea of seeing God, seeing Christ in everyone and in everything.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. You stole my thoughts that he talks about the quote, the community that showed up for him, the people, the doctors,
Yes.
the nurses, the paramedics, Jack
Yes.
Buck, and what they were the face, the hands and feet of Christ to him.
Mm.
Ultimately, this is exactly what you just said. So that's why this story is bigger than even just his story. It's the story of people who showed up for him. It's together we can, together we will. It's
Yes. Yes.
God purpose driven lives. And I needed to see it again. Last night, the red carpet, the testimony that they had the actors there. Again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about John O'Leary's Soul on Fire movie that comes out a week from today in theaters nationwide. But Rich, did you want to say anything real quick? I was going to show one more clip. Did you have something?
I'm sitting here listening to you guys about this, and I was like, we could learn something from the other species that we live with here on this earth, right? And I'm also thinking this is the month that we kind of dedicate to St. Francis, because I know we have the pet blessings and everything coming up soon. And Francis got so frustrated because people would not listen to what he was saying when he was preaching, that he stopped preaching to people and went to the animals.
Yes.
Which is why they would all gather around him.
Yes.
And then all those pictures have him gathered around animals, because he's like, you know what, if you guys won't listen, I'll take it to God's creatures. And he went to the animals and preached, which then people saw all these animals. This is how the story goes. People saw these animals and then were drawn in, and that's how he got their attention. But if you look at the other species that we live with on this earth, they all are inherently taking care of each other. You see mama deer with the babies, and you see all these puppies and cats, and they're all taking care of the people around them. And we're the only species on this earth that has trouble with that. And so maybe we need to take a step back and look at the nature that God created and say, how do we get motion? How do we get momentum? How do we get mobility? How do we find those things that sets our hearts on fire? Let's go back and look at God's creation and look at how he set the example for us so that we can start taking care of each other instead.
That's
and
good.
Rich Paul talked about that when he told us to esteem others more than self.
Yes.
And we see that, just what you're pointing out, we see that in the animal kingdom. My grandmother used to say, man is the dumbest animal on the planet. And in some ways it's like, don't you get it? We're so into ourselves and ego driven. And I think what the other week, Dawn, you were talking about ego edging God out.
Yeah, and pride. Wasn't St. Francis the one? I know we've said it a million times. I'm pretty sure it's St. Francis, right? Who said, go out and proclaim the gospel.
And use words.
Use words
if necessary. Yeah. And if necessary, use words. I love that. And that's essentially what John O'Leary is doing. He does a speaking circuit, but it's by his example that he speaks volumes. And with that being said, let's roll this soundbite from the actor Joel Courtney, who plays John O'Leary in the movie. I thought this was well said.
This has been so special and unbelievable, and definitely a standout in my career. I don't have the longest career. I've been doing this for a good amount of time, but this has been an absolute standout moment, and I will never forget it. And this night is a testament to that. All of these people are here to support John, his family, his story, his legacy that will never end.
See, there it is, legacy. How often have we talked about that in this podcast? Legacy beyond our last breath. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reaching that halfway. I call it the halfway point for me. And people say you're optimistic, but this coming year will be my halfway point in life. And
I spit my coffee out. Sorry. Optimistic. It's funny.
Optimistic, maybe, but I've got a 50-50 chance based on my family history. So I'll say halfway point. But that's the one thing I keep struggling with. It's like, okay, but what have I done? And I know I've done some things in my life, but I guess it's more geared towards what movement am I making to leave something behind, right? And so we've talked about that on a couple different shows. What's going to be my legacy? What are they going to remember me for? Will they remember me for? Anything, like that's the mortality we face as human beings. And so I'm okay with being in that space because I think it keeps my ego in check, right? Because if I'm worried about what I'm leaving behind, then I'm going to be worried about how others will be perceiving me. And that leads you to taking care of other people. So I think it's okay to feel that way.
Taking care of other people. Yeah. And we have this, I grabbed a quick soundbite from John. So I want to, on the red carpet lesson, I want to roll it really quick. Literally, it's 10 seconds, but it's powerful.
The divisiveness of society and the negativity of the marketplace. I think we need more stories of hope, of faith, of agency, of good. And tonight we celebrate Soul on Fire.
Yes, please. Yes, please. More stories of good.
And that's you, Dawn. That is exactly what you are doing. You are part of this dream, this desire, this fire that he has. You're living it. And Rich, it's I think it's a matter of degrees when we start obsessing about what other people may think, and this need to be famous and on the lips of children in every household and everything. That's the wrong approach. Just right where you are in the moment. If you can make a difference in somebody's life, do it, because what happens down here and what's recorded down here can't begin to hold a candle to what's being recorded in heaven.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's that humility of knowing that there's something much grander beyond the scope of. But you always wonder, like, how can I leave? I guess it comes down to cleaning your room when you're a kid, right? How do I leave this room better than the way I found it?
Yeah,
and that's how I think we need to approach each other sometimes. How do we leave each other? How do we leave the interaction better than the way we found it?
Absolutely.
There's a country song on the Good Stuff Family podcast that says it. I think it's Rascal Flatts. I'm not sure, but it says it's not if, but how they'll remember.
How they remember. Yeah. And that's the song I want played at my homegoing celebration. I love that.
Darned. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Did you make them laugh? Did you make them cry?
Yes.
That's an excellent song. I love that song by Rascal Flatts.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
And again, John O'Leary is doing that. What a powerful story he has. What a powerful testimony. And again, I'm going to say it again, because the point of the movie, again, is not just to celebrate this one man, but he'll tell you it's to celebrate everyone who rose up alongside him in his journey. That's where the sweet spot is. I'm looking at the people who are listening in right now. Jackie, I know these people, Jan, they are seeing the good in others and being the good for them, each with their individual talents. We've talked about Jackie, photographer, who highlights people of all different abilities, and a calling. And when it becomes so, if you're listening, here's the thing. And Jan is this amazing artist who's blessed so many people with it. I mean, like, crazy talented artist. She is. Like, sometimes you can learn things, but sometimes you just have a God-given talent. That's Jan. And so if you're listening, what is it that you can offer the world? You don't have to be perfect at everything, but what is it that uplifts and encourages other people and allows us to stand shoulder to shoulder for, this together we can, together we will. I can't say it enough. And that's what John was alluding to, that there's so much divisiveness. There's plenty of that to go around. How do we show up today with breath in our lungs to see the good in others and be the good for them? That's what it comes down to. It really does. We all have, no matter what we're up against, we have that opportunity. We have that ability. We have that choice.
Hey, Dawn, can I share? I use technology, and Rich and I were talking about, me being an old guy, and so many of my age group struggle with technology, but I use the technology to just reinforce my kind of life mission and everything. And I'd just like to share it with you. In the morning when I get up, I always ask my Echo
Alexa.
device. Yeah, I ask her, what's the weather going to be? And then I do this. I say, Alexa, what are we going to do today? Listen.
The same thing we do every day. Make the world a better place.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. I love that. I love that. Amen.
That's part of my daily routine, and she reminds me that's the mission. Of course, if she says that, I said, I'm all in. Hoorah, let's do it.
I love it. And I'm looking at the time where we're running out of time here. Rich, I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to run the last part. It's 1:30 of the trailer for the movie for Soul on Fire in lieu of our regular outro. So you can just manually take us out at the end. You'll see, it's a plenty of time to get out. But does that work for you, Rich?
Yeah, I was just my final thought for today, folks, is go and make movement. Go and do something. Be a positive force in the world today.
Yes. Mobility. Yeah. Final thoughts, Pastor Charles, for you?
No, just ditto what Rich said. Just go and find somebody to love on. Be present.
Amen. And another way of saying that is the way we sign off of every podcast. We say, see the good in others, be the good for them. On your mark, get set.
Let's go.
We're trying to promote not just a buzz, but a characteristic of grit, faithfulness, determination, power to overcome the tough stuff in life, but also the decision to make a difference for others.